Part 192. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1911. God's son Haitian is not afraid that his appetite will be too big, and he will feed himself to death. 3 divine fruits of my pure Yang kingdom. I need 3 of them for being one of the divine sects. The Temple of the Alliance of Light wants 2. My Akabane kingdom wants 3. Everyone shouted excitedly, showing their greedy side one by one. At this moment, Fang Fan hadn't spoken yet, and these people had already occupied 14 God's fruits. Greed is the original sin. From the very beginning, Fang Fan knew that these people would definitely be impossible to reconcile. With the real fruit of God in front of him, who would want to be taken advantage of? Definitely want to be able to possess everything. Such thoughts are vividly displayed. Having said that, it actually seems very real in essence. At this moment, the leaders of several factions are almost going to do it directly. Fang Fan smiled indifferently, since you have disputes, you might as well hand over all these God fruits to me, so that you won't quarrel, and I am willing to be the one who sacrificed. While Fang Fan was talking, the expression on his face became more and more real, all kinds of thoughts were churning in his mind, and the smiles on the corners of his mouth became more and more frequent. See you in the picture. In fact, Fang Fan just wanted to have it all to himself. He has taken a fancy to the 9 God fruits from the very beginning. Fang Fan. What do you mean? You want to take it all? Have you asked our opinion? The nearly 300,000 practitioners in my dark temple will not agree. My pure sun kingdom still has tens of thousands of elites. My Akabane kingdom also has tens of thousands of elites. The tens of thousands of practitioners of Genji Shen Zone will start fighting at any time. Several forces suddenly churned up, appearing excited. Fang Fan's words touched their bottom line. Their bottom line is the fruit of God. The combined strength of these 4 factions still has more than 700,000 troops. This is also where their confidence lies. More than 700,000 troops are displayed here, and they think they can directly intimidate Fang Fan. When faced with threats to their interests, they can form alliances for a short time. Fang Fan's eyes scanned the surrounding area, and his eyes became more and more sharp. Speaking of which, this kind of situation is really good, and the more you look at it, the more interesting it becomes. The 4 major forces are the key to Fang Fan's attention. As for the Temple of the Alliance of Light, which is like loose sand at this moment, there is basically no need to look at it. And the little time that Fang Fan deliberately delayed just now was not without reason. My queen, you can appear now. Fang Fan yelled into the distance, and then a heroic figure gradually appeared in front of everyone. Behind Queen Natasha is nearly 200,000 Shu Kingdom elites, fully armed and powerful. Fang Fan was waiting for reinforcements. With Queen Natasha's 200,000 reinforcements, plus Fang Fan's power at the moment, the number already exceeds 300,000. Cultivators of the Temple of the Light Alliance. Belong behind me at this moment, fight for me. When I return to the Temple of the Light Alliance, I will ask for credit for you one by one, otherwise, I will be punished as a crime of rebellion. Fang Fan snorted coldly, looked at the army of the Qiyu kingdom scattered like sand on the other side, and the expression on his face became more and more solemn. At this moment, all kinds of ideas are boiling. All the practitioners of the Light Alliance look at me and I look at you, their faces are full of confusion at the moment. The Son of God, Tai Shuqian, is dead, and the nominal leader is gone. Now the most noble among them is indeed only Fang Fan, who has the rank of Deputy 3rd rank acting red-clothed Archbishop. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1912. At this critical moment, if you resolutely choose to surrender, it seems to be nothing. Follow Fang Fan and have meat to eat. Boss Fang Fan wants to lead our Temple of the Light Alliance to capture all the fruits of God, and when the time comes to offer all the fruits of God, all the saints and even the Pope will not forget our credit, and we will definitely you can get a lot of rewards. Hiss, if you don't move, you can directly advance to a level of priesthood. Anyway, it's right to hang out with the boss Fang Fan. These cultivators in the Temple of the Alliance of Light echoed what others said, and they were talking each other at the moment, their expressions becoming more solemn and excited. All kinds of words have been able to represent the most sincere thoughts and ideas in their hearts. Now get together with each other, and then go directly behind Fang Fan, joining Fang Fan's camp. In an instant, the military lineup on Fang Fan's side increased to more than 400,000. Although the four major forces on the other side have more than 700,000 troops, they dare not make any changes at the moment. After all, the four forces have gathered together because of their common interests. And I got it? Anyway, in this case, it is basically unrealistic to ask them to pay. At this moment, they both have ghosts in their hearts, and they are afraid that they will make wedding dresses for each other, so this sense of defense between them is still very real. Everyone, there is no need to hesitate anymore. The strength of our four families together is completely superior to Fang Fan. If we can cooperate sincerely now, there is still a chance. If we miss this village, there will be no such store. God's fruit, you don't want it anymore. If you still want the fruit of God, you have to pay a certain price. Everyone charge with me. Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, licked his lips, and then teased him secretly. His original intention was to let them attack Fang Fan, and he led the army of the Akabane kingdom to paddle aside to watch the show, reaping the benefits of the fishermen. The state of lingering still seems quite real. King Kilian is right. I, Chanyang Kingdom, are the first to respond. My dark temple is going to fight to the death. Genji Shenzong is also joining. Kill. The four major forces reached a consensus for a short time, and then immediately announced an attack. The slogan was shouted extremely loudly, but the movements were like snails. The cultivators of the four major forces look at me, I look at you, and they look at each other with a smile, and they look at each other without saying a word. The scene once seemed very strange. They all think that other forces will go out to fight, and their own forces will reap the benefits of the fishermen. It's not too good to think. Everyone wants to be a fisherman, so why are there so many snipe and clam competing with each other? King Kilian. You shameless person. It was you who proposed the attack. What do you mean by letting the soldiers of your Akabane kingdom stand still? Hypocrisy. The corner of He Tian's mouth twitched, and then he said angrily. He, you still have the nerve to talk about me? Aren't you the supreme son of the Dark Temple? You have this character? Don't you also want to take advantage of it? Where can your Dark Temple be upright? How dare you say that we, Akabane Kingdom, don't want to be ashamed? Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane Kingdom, naturally didn't want to suffer from his mouth, so he returned it directly cursing. The godson of the Dark Temple, Haishan, had a bulging vein on his forehead, and he was about to rush over and beat Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane Kingdom. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1913. The two almost started to fight directly, and the scene seemed particularly dangerous at one time. Fang Fan looked at the picture in front of him, and somehow felt a little ridiculous. Are these guys out of their minds? How do you look, more and more cute? What are you thinking about in your head? This wave after wave is really interesting. However, Fang Fan seemed quite pleased with their fight like this, at least no one came to bother him at this time. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, glanced left and right, and the expression on his face became more and more solemn. These people obviously can't achieve anything. Fang Fan doesn't need to worry too much, now he just needs to focus all his attention on the 9 god fruits in front of him. The 9 god fruits will all be in his pocket. Fang Fan turned his head, and suddenly, the smile on his face disappeared, replaced by endless panic and anger. How so? Fang Fan's complexion turned dark. Then what is it? My god fruit was actually taken away by this little thing. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched. He didn't know what to say at this moment, he just felt his head bursting. Looking at it from Fang Fan's point of view, at this moment, a strange monster directly clings to the sacred tree, and then directly swallows 9 divine fruits into its belly. Is this about to become refined? I have worked so hard for such a long time, and it just turned into a puddle of autumn water? After finally defeating all the great forces, and then this? That's it? Fang Fan took a deep breath, and the veins on his forehead suddenly burst out. With the efforts of millions of people, is it so in vain? Fang Fan glanced at the distance, then gritted his teeth, his eyes trembled intermittently. Encircle and suppress it for me. Encircle and suppress it for me. No matter what. You must take it down. Fang Fan gritted his teeth with hatred, his eyeballs were popping out, and the black lines on his forehead became more and more. Kill. Completely kill. Fang Fan sneered, all kinds of thoughts churned in his mind, and the murderous intent in his eyes became more and more intense. At this moment, not only Fang Fan, but other major forces also fell into a state of confusion. Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, and He Tian, the son of the Dark Temple, who were fighting at first, also stopped their movements, and then glanced around, and the feeling became unusually real. The fruit of the gods that they have worked so hard to guard for so long has become like this? The fruit of the gods that they were fighting to fight for, just collapsed? No one can bear such a blow. At this moment, they looked at each other, and their eyes became more and more hot and crazy. Go and intercept that creature. Get rid of it. Didn't it eat all the fruits of the gods? Then I'll eat its meat. After all, it still has some medicinal effects of the fruits of the gods. Crap. Open its stomach, I don't believe it. Can this really be a monster? Hateful. Extremely hateful. Who can't bear it? Absolutely can't bear it? Kill it. Give me a minute to kill it. What are you waiting for? Whoever can catch this monster will be prosperous, the flesh and blood on it are extremely precious. Hiss, that's true, this is our opportunity for the Dark Temple. Such auspicious beasts should belong to our pure Yang Kingdom. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1914. Waves of shouts came, and the expressions of everyone suddenly became extremely sharp. While talking, their bodies trembled unnaturally, and the feelings in their minds were accumulating. Benefits come first, everyone understands this truth. For the sake of profit, he would not hesitate to burn everything in front of him. As Fang Fan ran, he focused his gaze on this monster. I saw that the shape of this monster is also very strange. There are short wings on the back, 2 horns on the forehead, and a slightly curled tail, which looks quite touching. What's even more weird is that the mane and chest of this monster are tightly connected together, and there is still a sense of cuteness inexplicably. The protruding fangs are not too long, and they are gnawing everywhere at the moment. Along the way, he would eat 2 mouthfuls of wild fruits when he encountered trees, and swallow stones with a little spiritual power directly into his stomach, and even those soils with rich spiritual power became its belly. Fang Fan raised his head and took a look. At this moment, he was inexplicably stunned for a while, and his feelings were unusually deep. This guy really seems to eat everything, there seems to be nothing he doesn't eat. Fang Fan took a deep breath, the thoughts in his heart were gradually surging at this moment, and the feeling couldn't help becoming more profound. While speaking, I felt my scalp go numb for no reason. The running speed is extremely fast, and the body looks chubby. I didn't expect to have such a footstep. If you want to say that I have seen countless war pet monsters, I have even seen some of various beasts, but seeing this monster still feels very strange. But since it has such a talent to devour everything, it must not be an ordinary monster. While Fang Fan was talking, sharp rays of light flickered in his eyes, and he put his hands together in front of him, his expression becoming more and more solemn. No matter what kind of monsters dare to take my god fruit, you have to pay the price. Fang Fan gave a cold drink, his eyes gradually became cold. Three-headed dog from hell. Little golden dragon. Divine beast Kunpeng. Dark Knight unicorn. All attack together. Follow me and kill. Fang Fan rode on the little golden dragon, and immediately gave orders. He has never suffered such a loss. Xiao Jinlong and other divine pets chased after it, but it was obvious that the speed of this strange beast became faster and faster, and the scene seemed extremely strange for a time. Guan Hai, slow down his speed. Fang Fan snorted coldly, then looked at the typing Warlock Legion and said. He doesn't believe it, can he capsize in the gutter? Can this be tolerated? Fang Fan squinted his eyes, all kinds of thoughts boiled immediately. Obey my lord. Curse. Guan Hai snorted secretly, and then the Legion skill curse was directly cast, and then the world in front of him suddenly changed dramatically. I saw that chubby monster fleeing quickly in the distance was running more and more slowly at the moment. Even if it ran forward like this, the final fate seemed to have been determined, and everything unfolded in front of him. Fang Fan was running faster and faster. Want to escape in front of me? Absolutely impossible. Boundary card. Fang Fan snorted coldly, and immediately threw out a few quasi-holy enchantment cards, directly blocking the path of that chubby monster. Roar. Squeak. The chubby monster crazily bumped into these barriers, with an angry look on its face. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1915. It's just that no matter how it hits, it's doing useless work now. In fact, the level of this chubby monster is not very high, but this infinite devouring skill is really frightening. In addition, this ability to escape infinitely makes people feel an inexplicable sense of consternation. It's as if everything is under control, and in the end they can only be helpless. Hand over the fruit of God, or you may spare your life. Otherwise, die. Fang Fan's lingering eyes looked directly at this chubby monster, and the expression on his face became more and more sharp. In this situation, what should be said and what should not be said has become clear. Roar. You are so rude to my Pixio family. Do you know the practice of our Pixio family? We can only go in and out. It is absolutely impossible for this Paiyao to spit out the divine fruit. Let me out. Let me out. The chubby monster suddenly spit out human words, and then shouted excitedly. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes silently, he caught some information just now. For example, this monster is called Pixiu. The mythical beast Pixiu is getting more and more interesting. Fang Fan couldn't help looking at the devouring holy armor on his body. The second armor that was synthesized back then was the Pixiu armor. It turns out that this is Pixiu. Fang Fan snorted secretly, his eyes flickered with brilliance, and the feeling in his heart became more and more real at this moment. Pixiu who can only get in and out. Fang Fan raised his head slightly, from the looks of it, he also has the nature of a brave man? I said, spit out the fruit of the gods, maybe you can spare your life, otherwise, die. Fang Fan doesn't want to hide anything anymore. It doesn't matter if you are a Pixiu or something, if you swallow my god's fruit, then it won't work. The fruit of God is gone, it was swallowed by me, and now it has been digested. I am a beast of heaven and earth, if you offend me, you will not end well. It's your chance to let me go, otherwise you will die. I advise you not to seek death. Roar. The chubby pixie roared at Fang Fan's position, and then showed excitement on his face, pretending to continue to rush over. Fang Fan's face was full of interest, and he looked more and more interesting. I don't care what kind of auspicious beast you are. You can't do it if you take my things. Fang Fan stepped forward directly, and a big-eared scraper fan hit the brain door of this mythical Pixiu, directly knocking him far away, and then collided into another barrier, making a collision sound. The scene was once he looked astonished. Hand over the fruit of God, otherwise, die. Fang Fan held the heaven-slashing sword in his hand, and directly stabbed the mythical beast with the sword, and strands of blood gradually flowed out. Roar. You hurt me. You hurt me. I swallowed your sword. Pixie roared a few times, then opened its bloody mouth, and directly swallowed the sky-slaying sword that Fang Fan bought. Fang Fan inexplicably felt an invisible suction force, which made him feel a sense of powerlessness all over his body, and then this feeling of powerlessness became more and more intense, and Fang Fan couldn't help but let go of the hand holding Zhan Tianjian. I feel like I'm going to break. This pixie looks like an ordinary low-level quasi-sacred combat power, why is it so strong? Fang Fan opened his mouth in astonishment, and his eyes couldn't help showing a look of thought, all of which made him feel unbelievable. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1916. Zhan Tianjian was swallowed into the belly of the Pixie beast. Fang Fan looked at the empty arm, and was extremely confused for a while. This guy won't really devour my heaven Zhanjian. That's too bad. Fang Fan then drew out a 4-star holy sword again, but he didn't dare to directly attack this mythical beast because he knew very well what the consequences would be. Looking at Fang Fan, who was backing away, the chubby pixie beast looked more and more arrogant. He felt that he had defeated Fang Fan, and immediately began to growl. I've said it a long time ago, don't come here to offend me, you don't believe me. Roar. Do you dare to continue to attack? If you continue to attack, you will still be dead. Hey. You can't be my opponent. There's no way. Hey. I am a great Pixiu. The mythical beast Pixiu spoke arrogantly, and then prepared to flee again. It's just that before he made any movement, his expression suddenly changed. Ho. Ho 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 ho. My stomach hurts. No. Impossible. There is nothing in this world that our great Pixiu can't digest. Yes, it's that black sword. You, what did you do to me? Damn. Damn. Quickly take out that black sword. Ah, I'm in so much pain. The mythical beast Pixie roared, and then made roaring sounds towards Fang Fan's position. At first Fang Fan still felt baffled, but gradually, he figured it out. Interesting, really, interesting. The connection between me and Zhantianjian has always existed, Zhantianjian has never been assimilated. Although the stomach of the Pixie beast has a strong digestive capacity, the material of the Zhantian sword is obviously extraordinary. Fang Fan nodded secretly, this time the mythical beast really did it on its own. Now, are you willing to hand over the fruit of God? Fang Fan smiled indifferently, looking at the Pixie beast rolling all over the ground. The confident expression on his face became more and more confident. No. I don't want to. I absolutely don't want to. The fruit of God is gone. It was devoured by me. It will never appear again. Let that sword come out. Let him out quickly. My stomach. The mythical beast Pixio hit the ground directly with its head, and the pain on its face was obvious. Now, do you think you still have any capital to continue to be stubborn? Fang Fan sneered, this mythical beast really does not shed tears when it sees the coffin. I can only give you back 3 god fruits, and I will use the rest. If you continue to be aggressive, I will fight you. The body of the mythical beast Pixio trembled, and it actually learned to be aggressive at this moment. 9. I want it. Fang Fan showed surprise on his face. He was able to extract some information from the words of the mythical beast Pixio. According to what this Pixio said, the fruit of the gods should still exist, and he had not directly digested it. This is possible to a certain extent. Fang Fan took a deep breath, and the excitement on his face was beyond words. If he can control it properly, maybe there will be some surprises in front of him. Fang Fan was secretly happy, and the expression on his face became more and more real. No. Impossible. It is impossible to give you all 9 pieces. In the history of my Pixio clan, there has always been progress but no exit. I have already made concessions, and you should be content. Roar. Pixio stared at Fang Fan, looking very dissatisfied. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1917. So, what does it have to do with me? You don't have to keep emphasizing the history of your Pixio family, I'm not interested. What I know is that at this moment, I can manipulate my sword to stir inside your body. Slaying Heaven Sword. Fang Fan snorted coldly, his eyes became more and more gloomy, and as soon as he read it, the Zhantian sword swayed wildly in the belly of the mythical beast. It hurts, I hurt so much. Don't do this, let me go. Let me go. Get out. Get out quickly. My source of chaos is disordered. You make it stop? Stop it? There were streaks of cold sweat on the forehead of Pixio Divine Beast. While talking, the body trembled unnaturally, various thoughts were churning in the mind, and the eyes became more and more earnest. At this moment, the body was unnaturally agitated. I'll give you 4 god fruits, is that enough? This is already my limit. The mythical Pixio let out painful neighing sounds, but it seems a little too late to beg for mercy now. Everything will come to an end. Fang Fan sneered, and continued to say calmly, 9 god fruits, 1 is indispensable. 5. 9 pieces. 6. 9 pieces. In addition, you have to sign a contract with me. While Fang Fan was talking, he looked at the Pixio mythical beast with a more upbeat smile. Everything seemed so smooth and exciting, it was quite touching. Contract? What contract? What do you want to do? You want me to be your pet? No. Impossible. Pixio will never be a slave. Even if I die here today, without a whole body, if I throw my body into the wilderness, I will never give in. Unless you can kill me now. Otherwise, there will never be such a possibility. Never, never. The Pixio mythical beast was shouting, and its posture became more and more proud. The performance is full of excitement, but it is not known how much self-confidence he has. Zhan Tianjian. Break out of the body, kill it directly, and bring out its stomach. I really want to see what the stomach that can swallow everything is like. If I cook such a stomach, does it mean that I can also devour everything? Tisk, tisk tisk, interesting, really interesting. This kind of temptation is really great. Fang Fan sneered, his eyes looked up and down on the mythical beast Zhou, and he licked his lips from time to time, his appearance was vividly displayed. Pixio God Beast's eyes widened, his mentality completely collapsed at this moment. This is still playing with the hammer. If this goes on, he will be cold sooner or later. If you die, you will die, and this body will become someone else's dish. Pixio's chubby body trembled, his eyes were full of despair. From his point of view, he is naturally unwilling to choose such a tragic life. If possible, he must want to change. Just now, is there really such a chance? Pixio took a deep breath, and his lips trembled unnaturally. He looked extremely embarrassed now. He could not escape, and he was grabbed by the throat of fate. If he does not choose to give in at this moment, what awaits him will only be death. In addition to death, the body will also suffer waves of abuse. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1918. No. Absolutely not. Pixio God Beast's eyes widened, and then he quickly shook his head. He couldn't handle such a situation. I don't want to accept it either. The so-called contract is nothing more than the contract of God. I haven't paid attention to that sliver of God's power, and it will be swallowed up by then. Although you will pay a certain price, it is better than the current state of being held hostage. That's right, that's it. First trick this guy to let the sword come out of my body first, so that I have taken the initiative. Pixio God Beast rolled its eyes, and then its gaze became more and more earnest. Okay. I promise you. However, I have one condition. After signing the contract, you must let this sword come out of my body immediately, and then I will offer you 9 more God's fruits. I'm in too much pain. If you don't keep your word, I won't let you go even if I risk being punished by the boundless God. At that time, I will perish with those God fruits, and you will get nothing at that time. As Pixio spoke, his gaze immediately turned to Fang Fan, and the excitement in his eyes was beyond words. Seeing the gloomy look on Pixio's face, Fang Fan smiled lightly. Of course Fang Fan could clearly see this guy's little thoughtfulness, but he didn't intend to expose it just like that. Because once the contract is signed, this mythical beast is really a fish on the chopping board, and he is allowed to control it. Thinking of this, the smile on the corner of Fang Fan's mouth can't help but increase. This feeling seems very good. All kinds of thoughts are churning in my mind, and the thoughts are gradually taking off. Okay. No problem. I promise you. But I hope you can keep your promise. Otherwise, the retribution of heaven's Deo cycle is not good, you should understand. Fang Fan smiled, and then looked at Pixio with vigilance in his eyes. What should be said has already been said. As for whether the mythical beast can understand this point, it is unknown. If the head iron is necessary, Fang Fan can only choose to kill him at that time. It all depends on the next choice. This is natural. Hurry up and make a contract. I don't want this sword to remain in my body. This feeling is too painful. While Pixio was talking, his body trembled unnaturally, looking very excited. Fang Fan acts as the Archbishop in red. Don't be deceived by this brave beast, he must be uneasy and kind. If you really sign a contract with him, you will be restrained by him at that time. In the distance, Fu Sui, the goddess of the third peak of Genji Shenzone, flew over and hurriedly followed to stop her. After Huangfu Sui finished speaking, other major forces also advised Fang Fan to be careful. Fang Fan's complexion turned dark suddenly. Why do you care about me so much all of a sudden? Can this so-called plastic friendship be temporarily put aside? Do you really think I don't know what you think? Probably just want to take this opportunity to seize the fruit of God, and then kill me? At this moment, you put on a look of thinking about me. Do you really have no feelings in your heart? Fang Fan pouted, ignoring all of these people. Just don't interfere with his plans. This is the previous contract between me and Pixio, it has nothing to do with you. If I want to sign, I will sign. Fang Fan declared domineeringly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1919. In fact, the intention is to keep these people from making trouble. He can completely deal with it in an all-round way, and really doesn't need to worry too much. Fang Fan acting as the Archbishop in red, this is not just about you alone, it's about the 9 fruits of God. It's about our interests. So this matter cannot pass so easily, I hope you can understand this clearly. Haishan, the godson of the Dark Temple, said threateningly from the side with a dark face. Fang Fan glanced over, and then swung the 4-star holy sword in his hand. This pixie beast is trapped by me, I can do whatever I want, you have no right to choose. If you want to forcibly entangle, it's not that I can't help you. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, the murderous intent flickered in them. Saying this, he has fully demonstrated his posture. You are arrogant. Fang Fan. You will regret it. You will eventually pay the price for your arrogance. Haishan, the son of the Dark Temple, was still yelling crazily, but Fang Fan didn't bother to talk to him anymore. The matter has come to this point, it is useless to say more. Fang Fan's eyes stared deeply at the mythical beast in front of him, and he couldn't help showing some excitement on his face. He not only wants the fruit of God, but also this mythical beast with a strange devouring ability. He never chooses, he wants them all. Now, let's sign the contract. Fang Fan looked at this Pixie with a smile, and the expression on his face was very sincere. Seeing Fang Fan's expression, Pixie subconsciously frowned. I don't know why, seeing Fang Fan like this, he felt a little flustered. It seems that Fang Fan's eyes have some kind of enchanting magic power, which makes him feel moved and trembling from the bottom of his heart. Thinking of this in my heart at this moment, my eyes flickered. His eyes are wandering, and he seems a little unsure. I'm talking to you, do you hear me? Fang Fan looked at this mythical beast with a speechless face, and it was almost at the door, so why are you still twitching? I just feel, you are not a good person. Pixie said something cowardly, and then its chubby body rolled around in front of Fang Fan. Fang Fan. This gave him a bad guy card? But in general, it's better to hand out bad guy cards than good guy cards. Fang Fan's thoughts moved slightly, his eyes gradually became silent, and his expression seemed a little strange. All kinds of thoughts are churning in my mind, and the feelings at this moment can't help but become extraordinarily real. I'm not a good person, there are no good people in this world. Fang Fan curled his lips and said confidently. Just say, do you want to sign this contract? If you don't sign the contract, I will let the sword in your stomach burst out now. It's not impossible for me to search for the god's fruit after I kill you. I mainly don't think that a mythical beast like you is indeed an auspicious beast of heaven and earth, so I just want to give you a face. Since you don't cherish it, then I have nothing to do. Fang Fan let out a sigh, and as he spoke, sharp rays of light flickered in his eyes. While speaking, he strode up to this mythical beast, ready to give him the final spiritual shock. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1920. Sign. Sign the contract now. The mythical beast Pixie saw Fang Fan striding forward and beat him up, and was immediately frightened out of his wits, and quickly followed suit. At this moment, a pair of pupils were wide open, and while talking, his body trembled intermittently. Look how good it is. You should have done this long ago. In that case, let's start taking it. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth raised slightly, everything is developing according to his established direction, so, it's good. The contract of the Rage God. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and directly used his strongest contract power. Rage God's contract, Rage God's exclusive skill. As a virtual Rage God, you can use it. After using it, you can create a Rage God's contract with any creature regardless of the level, making it a Rage God slave. Constrained by the power of law, the cooldown period is 1 month. With such a guarantee, the safety factor is directly bursting. Fang Fan smiled slightly, and the smile on his face became more and more real. This feeling is beautiful and subtle. If the current trend continues to develop in an all-round way, everything will become smoother. When the power of the Rage God's contract penetrated into the body of the Pixie Beast, pieces of silver-white holy light flickered immediately, which seemed a bit dazzling. This feeling is not bad. Fang Fan muttered to himself, and the smiles on his face grew more and more. As for the mythical beast, it is still dreaming of devouring the power of the contract. Generally speaking, a normal god's contract will be mixed with a trace of divine power, and this trace of divine power is also the key to ensure the smooth execution of the contract. Under normal circumstances, cultivators basically have nothing to do with this trace of divine power. Divine power, even a trace of divine power, is not an existence that ordinary cultivators dare to defy. But the infinite devouring ability of Pixie can completely circumvent this point. Of course, even if it is a mythical beast, if it does this, it will suffer some misfortune and punishment to some extent, there is no doubt about it. But compared with his own life, this little hardship is nothing. The Pixie mythical beast rolled its eyes, it was a wishful thinking. Thinking about it now, the smiles on his face grew more and more. Ding! Rage God's contract was successfully cast, and a Pixie mythical beast successfully became a slave of the Rage God. There is a system prompt sound next to my ear, and everything has been settled. Fang Fan nodded secretly, and the smile on his face grew more and more. What he likes is this feeling. The contract has been signed. Let the sword come out of my stomach quickly. When the sword comes out of the body, I will immediately present the 9 fruits of the gods. Pixie was still shaking his wits, and while talking, the excitement on his face was beyond words. Fang Fan smiled indifferently, and his expression became more and more calm. It's really interesting. Now that the matter has come to this point, he has nothing to say, but now that he has reached this level, what to say and what to do, isn't it still up to his wish? Certainly. I will definitely follow the contract. I just hope that you also follow the power of the contract. Otherwise, but you will receive some small punishments. As Fang Fan spoke, he walked forward silently and stroked the round body of the Pixie mythical beast.